All right, the expression of the day is generation gap, right here in the blue. A generation gap. So you can write it down if you want. Um, as we know, a generation is roughly 40 years, but it can be also 20 years, about 20 years, because that's when people would have a child, and so it's a new generation, right? So if you have like a 3-generation photograph, it's, you know, grandmother, mom, and mom's child. So it's 3 generations. So if somebody has a generation gap, it means there's like 20 or 30 years in between them, and there's some disconnection, right? So maybe you're talking to a foreigner from USA, and they make some joke to you, and you're like, why is that joke funny, right? That's kind of like lost in translation, you know? So it's because of the different culture. So generation gap is because of age, right? So maybe before class, you get here like 1 hour early, and it's Hyun and some other student, and he's like a 75-year-old grandfather, right? And you try to talk before class, but it's just really awkward because there's a generation gap, right? Like maybe you're on your phone, and he says, "Don't do that, that's so rude." You're like, oh, right? And there's lots of little problems like that. That's a generation gap, right? Yeah. Can you think of another example? Some generation gaps?
Yeah, I have one idea.
Okay.
It's about my family.
Okay.
In a national holiday like Chuseok or Seollal, my father and mother and they didn't understand. They didn't understand that I'm not in the home.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to go somewhere for traveling or meeting new people, but like they always think that I need to be in the home with my grandma and grandpa and other families.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's kind of also a generation gap because they have some of the family-oriented concepts still. But I think my individual activity and my life is more important than this.
Okay, that's a good example because most of your friends would agree with you, right? But most of your friends' parents and your parents all kind of agree the other way. That's a good example.